For most of my life, I've heard two very different versions of the cannabis story. One, that weed fries your brain, and the other, that weed heals your brain. But the truth is a lot more nuanced and a lot more interesting than that. Yes, chronic high doses of THC, especially for young people, can cause real harm. But there's also a growing body of research showing that regular low doses of THC might actually help the brain, especially as it ages. In fact, the science suggests that THC, when used wisely and sparingly, could be a powerful neuroprotective medicine for the modern age. Part 1. The young brain and the risks. Let's start with the tough truth. If you're under 25, your brain is still wiring itself. The areas responsible for memory, emotion, and judgment are still under construction, and THC acts on the same system that guides this wiring. So if you introduce high doses too early and too often, it can essentially disrupt your brain development. Heavy use at an early age is linked with a thinning of the prefrontal cortex, reduced brain connectivity, and an increased risk of mental health issues. And the younger you are, the bigger the risk. A 15-year-old smoking strong THC is playing with fire. Even as a fully grown adult, heavy chronic cannabis use can contribute to emotional instability, mental dullness, and social withdrawal, with symptoms like anxiety, paranoia, and loss of motivation. It can also cause cognitive issues and uncomfortable withdrawal symptoms like insomnia, headaches, and mood swings when you're trying to stop. Part 2. So, is weed bad for your brain? Not exactly. The story changes with age and dose. You see, cannabis mimics chemicals that your brain already makes, called endocannabinoids. By activating receptors found throughout your brain and your body that make up the endocannabinoid system, these natural chemicals help regulate a ton of bodily processes, including your inflammation response, energy use, brain connectivity, appetite, sleep, and loads more. So THC stimulates this system. Large doses can overwhelm it, and when taken often, they can downregulate its function, meaning you come to rely on THC for the system to work properly. However, when consumed in small, regular amounts, THC can actually stimulate this system and effectively boost its function to help it work better over time. The effect of regular low doses of THC appears to be extra effective in the aging brain, where connectivity is degraded and energy metabolism is slowing. So it's not about is weed good or is weed bad, it's about how much, how often, and at what age, as well as loads of other variables like consumption methods, current health status, genetics, sex, and so on. Part 3. The power of low doses. So where's the research to back up these claims that THC can actually benefit your brain? There is research showing that microdoses of THC, anywhere from around 0.5 milligrams to 1 milligram, can improve memory, reduce pain, and even rejuvenate aging brain tissue. For reference, if you smoke a regular joint, you'll absorb around 15 milligrams of THC. So there's this recent study in Parkinson's patients that found a daily dose of a THC CBD extract containing just 1 milligram of each significantly improved non-motor symptoms in patients with Parkinson's disease. These included improvements in sleep, mood, pain, and sexual function, and notably, these benefits came without unwanted psychotropic effects. A compelling case study from 2022 followed a 75-year-old man who used daily microdoses of a THC-rich cannabis extract over 22 months to successfully reduce the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. Using doses from 0.3 milligrams to 1 milligram, the patient experienced improvements in memory, mood, and overall function, with his symptom relief described by researchers as both rapid and robust. A separate study also found that low-dose THC can reduce aggression and agitation in Alzheimer's patients, which are two of the most distressing symptoms for caregivers and patients alike. Perhaps the most intriguing evidence yet comes from a 2024 study published in ACS Pharmacology and Translational Science. Researchers gave low-dose THC to aged mice over a period of time, and the results were pretty stunning. Cognitive function was restored, synapse density in the brain increased, brain energy metabolites rose, and mTOR activity was fine-tuned. Basically, THC appeared to reverse signs of brain aging while mimicking the metabolic benefits of things like caloric restriction and intermittent fasting, all without the high. And then there's this study showing that low doses of THC improves verbal fluency, flexibility, and originality. And in what may be one of the most paradigm-shifting findings today, a study from 2020 found that just half a milligram of THC could significantly reduce chronic pain, again without any psychotropic effects. Part 4. THC as a metabolic modulator. So how does this work? At the centre of this emerging science is one idea, that low-dose THC appears to gently regulate metabolism, especially in the brain. You see, metabolism is your body's energy engine, and your brain is a high-energy organ, using up to 20% of your body's energy. So if your metabolism isn't working well, your brain doesn't get enough fuel. Neurons fire more slowly, and you can't form or repair connections as easily, and your mood, focus, memory, and creativity all suffer. In fact, many scientists now believe that brain disorders like Alzheimer's and mental health issues like depression are actually metabolic diseases of the brain. So essentially energy dysfunctions in the brain, or problems of how the brain utilizes energy. And the research suggests that low doses of THC seem to mimic the effects of metabolic therapies like intermittent fasting, exercise, and the ketogenic diet. It does this by helping the brain grow and repair connections, by boosting the proteins that form new synapses, which are the links between brain cells, improving energy production in brain cells, helping them function better, activating a key pathway called mTOR, which is important for memory, learning, and brain plasticity, and reducing overactivity in the rest of the body's metabolism, similar to the effects of fasting or calorie restriction, which are known to support healthy aging and reduce inflammation. So it appears that low-dose THC isn't acting like a typical drug. It's more like a gentle tuning fork for your metabolism. Essentially, it's helping your system find its natural balance and rhythm. Part 5. How to use it wisely. If you're curious about trying low-dose THC for brain health, here are a few things to keep in mind. Number 1, start low. Start as low as 0.5 milligrams. This can be difficult to dose, especially with black market cannabis or unstandardized products, but a small puff on a joint or a dry herb vape should do the trick. Be consistent. The studies show benefits from 1 dose a day over time, not random binges here and there. Combine it with healthy habits. Low-dose THC works best alongside other healthy habits like proper sleep, exercise, time outdoors, breath work, clean eating, and so on. Add CBD and other non-intoxicating cannabinoids like THCV and CBG, as they've also been shown to support metabolic health by reducing inflammation, improving insulin sensitivity, regulating appetite, and protecting your mitochondria. And lastly, track your experiences. Keep a journal and notice changes in mood, memory, pain, energy, whatever. This will be valuable feedback that will help you customize your dose and get the most benefits. This isn't medical advice, this is just my personal ideas based on the current science. Part 6. My experience microdosing THC. Now, I've had a troubled relationship with cannabis for most of my adult life, basically being addicted and smoking pretty much every day. However, I'm in a good place with it now, and a big reason for that is that I learned about the beneficial effects of low doses of THC. Personally, I find very low doses of THC give me the effects that I want, like calm, relaxation, and increased creativity, without the effects that I don't want, like anxiety, restlessness, and a lack of motivation. It's been a great help in my business career, as well as socially, and it's also helped me overcome my compulsive relationship with weed. In fact, one study found that when people with cannabis dependence were able to consume a low dose of THC alongside CBD whenever they wanted throughout the day, they had significantly more days where they did not smoke cannabis compared with a placebo group. Part 7. The bigger picture. When it comes to brain health, THC can't replace purpose, community, movement, nutrition, or sleep. But when used with intention, especially at low doses, it can become a tool for tuning your metabolism and healing your brain. So I think it's time to change the conversation. Not just, is weed bad or should it be legal, but how can science help us use this ancient plant to help us thrive in a modern world? Because low doses of THC can help your brain tap into its natural rhythms of repair, resilience, and growth. And it may just be one of nature's most powerful neuroprotective medicines. I talk more about low doses of THC, especially for cannabis dependence and addiction, in my book Overcoming Cannabis Addiction on Amazon. And sign up to the newsletter if you want more grounded, science-backed takes on cannabis and plant medicine. Thanks for watching.